A very warm welcome to all of you. You are watching News9 Mediaverse and I am Kartikeya Sharma. On to the point. But first, the latest from Manipur. A special court granted bail to all the 5 miscreants whose arrest sparked protest in the state. These 5 had been arrested for extortion, for misusing police uniform and for carrying weapons looted from state armouries. On Thursday, civil society groups including the Meitei stormed police stations demanding their release. Nearly 50 people were reported to be injured when the protesters clashed with the police. The Meitei and other protesting organizations say these 5 were village volunteers defending Meiteis from attacks. But if you look at these visuals, you would understand that the entire Imphal city came to a grinding halt. They blocked the roads. Police have a different version of the events. The question we are asking is, are village volunteers with looted weapons becoming a parallel force in Manipur? On this issue, I will be joined by Dr. Meitei, Associate Professor, Center for Social Medicine, Community Health, School of Social Sciences, JNU, Group Captain Retired B. Nandakumar Sharma, Suhas Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group, and Major General Ashwini Sivach. First to you, Brijesh, if you look at these visuals, all of them, the sort of firing which took place, the sort of grinding halt the Imphal city was brought to, and subsequently, as per the law, when they were released, how the women protested, right or wrong is a different debate. This is yesterday. They didn't wait for the court of law to come into action, which came into action today. It is their version of the story that they are part of the village defense force. And it doesn't end. I'm going to show you each and every visual so that people would understand. I would like the NAT to go up. Protested. And all of them protested. The tear gassing had to take place. The barricades had to go up. The normalcy, which we were talking about, stands shattered. I'll play all these visuals. Brijesh, first to you, what happened?
Well, I think, one thing is very clear that these civil groups are trying to be extrajudicial or extra constitutional, if I may say so, because earlier we had thought that Meitei or Meiteis had problem with certain divisions of Assam Rifles, and the Kuki ethnicity had problems with Manipur police. But now with the arrest which has been effected by Manipur police and the kind of the pressure which has been brought by Meitei and the women folk, it has actually virtually forced the hand of the state. And because when women are fighting, they are agitating, they are at the forefront, it makes the task of the police force all the more difficult. And the kind of pressure which has been exerted, it's a clear, for want of a better word, I would say it's a clear blackmail on the part of civil organizations to ensure that, if you arrest people from our side, I think, a person is a village defense council, or a person is an extremist, or a person is someone who has run away with a gun. All this has to be decided by the police investigation and the court. Civil societies can't be the arbitrator, judge, adjudicator of who all a criminal is. If this is the case, then how do you expect the police or the paramilitary forces to perform at all? Because it's not limited to one side. Both sides can do this thing, and they will virtually force the hand of the police.
Dr. Meitei, what do you make of this? I was stunned when I saw these visuals yesterday when I was leaving office. It came late. There's always a delay when you cover conflicts. Nothing is real time. People in social media like to believe that everything is real time. And then other set of visuals came and I just couldn't believe my eye. I'm sure for whatever reason, you can't bring the entire administration down to its knee.
Yes, Kartikeya, it's now becoming more of wearisome than worrisome. If you look at the reports and the information which is provided by the police, it says that they were these 5, which they call it, the people call them as a village volunteers, but the report, the information provided by the Manipur police says that they were arrested with arms and ammunition, and they were wearing a police uniform on 16 September. And they were arrested from like 4 to 5 kilometers away from the village. And secondly, the information also said, from the information, it can be made out that none of them were from the village and they belong to different localities. Thirdly, as per the report, as per the information, they are terrorists, not village volunteers. In fact, one of them is initially trained PLA cadre and arrested 6 times because of the, under the Terrorist Act. And then that person joined KCP, which is called the Kangleipak Communist Party, and it's one of the terrorist group which is listed as unlawful by the Ministry of Home Affairs. So I'm speaking from the report and the information provided by the Manipur police. So, therefore the question which comes to my mind is that if they were village volunteers, why are they wearing a police uniform? And why were they arrested, 4 to 5 kilometers away from their residence or the village? And now, as you are saying about their release,
I think you have made a relevant point.
Yeah.
You have made a relevant point. Mr. Suhas, if Mehra Paibis are outraged, I find the whole chain of event outrageous. I mean to say the entire city comes to a grinding halt. And I have not even shown the visuals where police station was attacked. I'll show you. I'll show those visuals. How do you expect the civil rule to sustain itself when a section of civil society can pressurize the government? Yes, by due course of law, they have got bail. They have been released. They have not been forced out of the police station. But then this preceded it. Mr. Suhas.
Well, I think the first comment which I want to make is that when you look at the comments from a number of experts from mainland parts of India, their whole explanation that the end of killings regularly means that there is a willingness for establishing peace. I think these are incidents which should tell them that you do not understand the Northeast India and you have not followed the history of the conflicts in Manipur. And if this kind of attacks takes place on the police stations, it basically means that you have not learned from the history. And if people had seen the protest after the killing of Manorama Devi in 2004, for 45 to 60 days, lakhs of people came and joined in the protest against the armed forces. And it continued. And, I traveled during those days in those protest areas. And the government of Manipur is very much aware that if these 5 persons are not released, then there would be similar kind of movements which they had seen in 2024, almost 2 decades ago. And if the prosecution did not support the bail applications of these 5 persons who were arrested for offences for which ideally they should not have been granted bail, because without the end of the investigation you could not have released the persons. So at least you had to detain them for the purposes of the inquiry, and that procedure was not followed simply because the prosecution did not oppose the bail applications. So that's why they were granted bail. Now this indicates to a larger problem, and that problem is that the conflict in Manipur is going to continue for a long period of time. Then Home Minister Amit Shah or Prime Minister Narendra Modi would like to believe you can possibly control or take some of the leaders from both the communities into your confidence, but that is not the guarantee.
But Mr. Chakma, I know that's a very powerful argument you are making. But what is surprising is it's so easy to shatter peace in the city.
Well, that's what I was saying. Number of commentators in your program had come and said, situation is improving, people are tired, etc. Neither people are tired, neither the situation is improving, nor is it going to improve. And this availability of 5,000 arms and 5 lakhs ammunitions across the states, and everybody being, it is as if, what does the argument of the Meitei state? The argument of the Meitei states that the state doesn't exist, state is not able to protect, so village defense forces have to be protected and you can't arrest them. So there is nothing more acceptance of the failure of the state than the release of these 5 guys. So that's what I'm saying, this conflict will continue for a long period of time, and I don't think anybody has an idea in the Ministry of Home Affairs as to how the conflict shall play out. And none of us, at the end of the day, in fact, all the panelists here, we ourselves do not have idea. We are giving comments, except that, this conflict will continue some way or the other, and it's very unfortunate that at the end of the year, when you do not have any kind of cultivation, etc., people are living, unsustainable life, it will impact the economic, irreparably.
Okay, so fair point. Let me describe the visuals, what's happening. One, the police station was attacked. We'll show you the visuals of the police station. Secondly, the tear gassing had to take place throughout the city because the exit entry points were being blocked by Myra Paivis. So police was trying to open those areas. Third is of the rapid action police force. The fourth set of visuals which I am going to show you, a part of it which you have seen, is when the Myra Paivis are in front of the Manipur police and telling them that they need to go. And the fifth set of visual which I am going to show you is of the 5 miscreants being released. So, and these are visuals from yesterday afternoon till today morning. So 2 set of visuals I am showing you how the city of Imphal came to a grinding halt over an issue which started 7 days ago. And a tweet of Manipur police was there which clearly stated miscreants with sophisticated weapons were arrested, apprehended and put behind bar. So this is something by Manipur police which was put on record. After that, they have got the bail. The process is there, but let me play out the bite of the advocate before I go to my other 2 panelists.
Release on bail, subject to payment of rupees 50,000 security. And right now, they say they have been in police custody for more than 7 days, and because of and this general strike, they cannot produce this particular security. That's why I, being an advocate of Mr. Anand, student security in the present case. Accusation is too vast. Even offense against state has been alleged. Even the terrorist activity has been alleged. But on finding of the police report, or the one finding of during the course of investigation, no prima facie can be found against the accused. That is the main reason, yes, I think. All the 5 accused has been released. All the 5 accused have been released.
Then I'll go to Mr. Sharma and then General Sivaj. The copy is that they were released on the bail after furnishing a PR bond of 50,000 with certain conditions. In its order, the court said that the 5 accused shall cooperate with the investigation, make themselves available before the investigating authorities, and not influence prosecution witnesses. The court also directed the youth not to leave the state of Manipur without its prior permission. Rejecting the remand prayer of Manipur police for judicial custody, the court said all accused persons have not yet committed any prejudicial activities against the state till the time of arrest. Now, this is what the order is. Now, what is happening is that what is happening right now is that the massive deployment of force has taken place before and after the release. Your opening comments, Mr. Sharma.
Yes, the incident happening is very unfortunate. The village volunteers are heavily armed in both the communities. It's from Kuki communities as well as Meitei communities. The village volunteers, as we all know, that they are heavily armed and they are fighting each other for almost more than 4 months as of now. However, from the visuals and the news, we are seeing only the actions being taken up against the Meitei volunteers or Meitei arms. So, security forces and police need to show certain visuals and certain actions against the other community also. You would have seen about 1 month back in the Kankokpi district, the Manipur police exists, and mainly those police are from Kuki community. 2 buses carrying security forces were burned down in front of them, and also there were many Assam Rifle forces and others. So nothing had happened. So strict action also would have taken at that time, and this sort of images has led the Meitei community to presume that there is a bias in operations. So this has led the Meitei community, especially the Meitei, having a thought that they have been biased and treated separately. And also the Article 14 of Indian Constitution, equality before the law, is not applied to the Meitei community. As PLA and the other organizations are banned through MHA,
how can you say that, Mr. Nandakumar, that the law is unequal? I mean to say, yes, the same law has given them the relief. The same law has allowed them to walk out.
Yeah, please allow me to tell, because the Meitei insurgency groups, they have been banned under UAP in 1967. Whereas you have seen the armed Kuki militants, they are having an agreement and the separation or the suspension of operation. There is no fighting with them. They are let free of UAPA. And just try, if you don't believe me, just try having an agreement with the suspension of operation with the Kashmir-based militants. See the reactions of the Indian community or Indian people on similar reactions you will see in the streets and in everywhere. Because if you treat the terrorist armed groups having an agreement with the suspension of agreement in one community and others under the MHA, under the UAPA, if you ban, people did not know earlier, but of late it has come into limelight. So these are discussions having in the Manipur Meitei community especially. So they have been let down by the the law of the land. So once such things are
who has let them down, Mr. Nandakumar? I think the police have treated everyone with a lot of kid gloves. I would say that this is vigilantism.
The policy of the government.
I'll let you speak, but this is vigilantism, you know, to create public pressure on state authorities for their release. Obviously, they have been released as per the law, and I respect the law. But then the pressure has been built up on streets since yesterday.
I am talking about cracking down. See, the law is taking its action, and as per the law, they got.
I just want to contextualize the debate, Mr. Sharma. I want to contextualize the debate in context of Imphal. Mr. Chakma, I'll come to you, but I'll give chance to Mr. Sifaj first. He has been very patient. But I want to contextualize this debate. I am no enemy of Mera Paibi or anyone. I'm just saying that these visuals were fed to us by wire agencies. My camera person also didn't go there. And I narrate what is happening on the screen. I'm narrating the visuals on the screen. I am not adding adjectives to it. Please go ahead, Mr. Sharma, then General Sivach.
Yeah, this is what I am saying. So this such things has created more and more distress in spite of healing touch. So more actions, some visuals and some press briefing required to be done by the security forces for the actions taken against the Kuki community, and also when they ensured free movement of Meitei community in 14-kilometer long stretch at Kankokpi, situation will come down. And you just consider yourself, the whole community, Meitei community, ladies and gents are coming out on the streets and protesting. Why? and that too for so-called illegal arms militants. Is it possible? If even if they are illegal militants, they have the public support in such a huge amount, there is something wrong in the policy or by the government of India and the government of Manipur. This need to be looked seriously, and this can never happen. And there is something seriously wrong, and some sort of alienation and some sort of bias has been felt by the Meitei community. That's why these are happening. People don't want the militants or terrorists in Imphal too, because it's a problem for them. And extortion, others, once, let's say, they support these insurgencies and the government India says, keep them freer. Ultimately, these insurgencies and terrorists are going to target these Meitei people, the common people. So it is very painful for them also. They know it. The insurgencies
Sir,
in early
you were in
2000s
security. Sir, you were part of the armed forces.
Yes.
General Sivaj, isn't that the job of the security forces and not the civil society to take up arms and protect themselves? It's the job of the government of India and Manipur government. And I think it's a bit rich and convenient, sorry, with due respect. When Biren Singh had to put in his papers, the same Mera Paibis stopped him for resigning. Today, all 5 of them have been released duly by the court, duly by the honorable court. It's respected, Brijesh. But the fact of the matter is the entire city was held hostage yesterday. General Sivaj.
Absolutely. Yeah, very down. You see, first and foremost is we have been telling from day one, till the time you do not take out these weapons from the society, the criminalization will not reduce. There are about 7,000 to 8,000 weapons are still with the society, and these are misused by the both sides. Now, the case in point is the Meitei, which has come into limelight, this volunteer
and I can't
force
even
which is
discuss
there.
with you, General Sivaj, I can't even discuss with you the state of weapons because a sealed report has been submitted to the Supreme Court of India, and out of security reasons, the details have not been put in public. So I can't even have a conversation with you how much was looted and how much of it has come back. That conversation can also not take place.
Yeah, very correct. See, my point is that this village volunteer which are there, that anyone and everyone has become a village volunteer with the most sophisticated weapons. And now these weapons are available in the society. They will extort money from the other people, and there will be criminalization. So until unless these weapons do not come back from the society, thinking that we can bring the peace, this is far-fetched. You will not able to bring it. That is very clear. Now, 2-3 things stand out as far as this incident is concerned. One good thing which has happened is first time the Manipuri police has acted very objective, and they have now taken those people who were having weapons under their custody, and it is only the court which has given the bail. I don't think that court has come under pressure, but certainly that they have been given a bail, and whether they now come back and join basically the procedure or the process, that is to be seen. But certainly one thing is very clear, the police has acted very objectively in this case, and once they found these village volunteers were wearing a police form and also they were equipped with a sophisticated weapon, they have arrested them and they have taken them to the court. The second thing which stands out is that we have been talking that the new form of pressure tactics is being applied in Manipur by the village ladies. Both sides, the women are putting pressure on the government agencies, whether it is security forces or police. So they are unable to perform objectively.
General Sivaj, was this something ever witnessed by you in your career? And then I'll come to Mr. Chakma, in Punjab, in Assam, in Kashmir theatre, or even in Mizoram theatre. Sorry, it's a broad sweep I'm making, but I'm sure both you two gentlemen will be able to answer my question. Has this sort of a mobilization by women visible?
Yeah, I'll tell you. See, I have been operating in all parts of the country. I started my career in 77, 78 in Mizoram, in Lusai Hills, in Longtrai, the South Mizoram. In Mizoram, the Mizo National Front, which was there, that was a very different type of militancy. The women never came forward. And same way I have seen it in Punjab, women didn't come. Yes, Kashmir had this problem. Kashmir also have a problem, but they are the one which are encouraging the children to throw stones. They are coming and trying to become a human shield, but they were never as much as the one which is being shown in Manipur. In Manipur, they are becoming a human shield. They are also encouraging their own, side. Second thing is they are not letting the security forces to take a legal action. They become sort of shield, and it is not one side; it is both sides. This is what is happening. That but one good thing has happened is the first time the police, you cannot question police this time that they have not taken action. They have taken objectively action. And if such actions are taken from both sides, you will find the problem will be solved. Till now, what was happening is that there was a distrust and mistrust between two communities. The militant group, the tribal, the police force of one community was fighting against another community. The police was considered not to be very objective, it was subjective. But in this action, the police has shown they mean business, they mean law, and they have taken a very objective action.
Okay.
It is different that the woman has again come forward and they are putting pressure on the government agency. You don't know where to draw line. If they fire, they are in trouble. If they don't fire, then again there is a pressure. So this is a problem in Manipur. This needs to be tactfully handled. It is no easy solution.
It's no easy solution.
The distrust and mistrust is again there.
No easy solution.
And my point is one point more. All the panelists who are coming here, they are very well educated, well behaved. They are well meaning, but they are also divided as per the community they are belonging. Because unfortunately, that is what has happened in Manipur, and both sides are telling certain things from their community point of view, and they're right. There's nothing wrong. But there is a other side of the story also. The story
General Sivaj, the panelists can take communitarian point of view. It's okay. But it is job of the state to provide normalcy. I can't expect
100%.
Mr. Nandkumar Sharma and Dr. Guite to do that. It is their job to teach, come on TV channel, write, speak, be part of the narrative building industry. But it is the job of the state government to breach those lines. But what has happened yesterday is very, very worrisome. Mr. Chakma, you had raised your hand for a point to make.
Well, I think what I wanted to say basically take off from what General Sivas had mentioned, that we cannot in any manner, sitting through the television channel, encourage in any way, directly or indirectly, any form of violence, or for the people to take the law in their own hands.
But this
At
is
the end of the day,
encouragement.
we have a
I mean
responsibility.
to say, yes, police has done a good job, but this is like encouraging this behavior.
Yes. So when we say, that there is some sort of inequality before law, it's very unfortunate. Because anywhere else in the country, if you were arrested under the UAPA, you would not have gotten bail in this manner. So that's very clear. And on the issue of certain organizations being not covered or notified under the UAPA as a terrorist organization, the position of the Ministry of Home Affairs has been very clear. Those who have signed agreement of suspension of operations or ceasefire agreement whatsoever, the Ministry of Home Affairs had taken them off the list. And I am quite sure, had the Meitei groups engaged in formal talks with the government of India, they would also have been taken off the list of the UAPA, terror organization. So we cannot compare at this point of time, because the position of the government of India has been very clear. So we cannot say, or we cannot equate the groups which are informally talks with the government of India or place their demands, as well as the groups who do not even want to talk with the government of India. If that is the perspective of a security officer who heads up with the government of India, I mean, it's very unfortunate. See, what we have to do, we have to realize one thing.
Mr. Chakma, I have a very simple point. Mr. Chakma, I have a very simple point. My point is very simple. There is nothing called inorganized protest.
Please.
There is nothing called a spontaneous protest. Every protest is organized. It's like, there is a famous word called manufacturing dissent. It's like, I'll quote the famous Paul Brass book, you keep the tension simmering, and the political, the social actors come in. So, you can't expect, you can't say that this is all spontaneous. There has to be a network of knowledge. There has to be a network of leaders at a basic level. There has to be a network of sustained sense of injustice which is being cultivated. People just don't come out like that. And mind you, internet is not working properly in Manipur. So how do they organize themselves? How do they come out in such numbers? So much so that the entire administration has to be out. Dr. Meitei, I really find it difficult to believe that spontaneous protests broke through Imphal.
Yeah, true. I mean, your question brings me to the point where it is important to navigate the role of Mera Paibis in the last 4 months, leaving aside their past glories. So I feel, the past 4 months since the violence breakout, they have been leading actively in assault or stopping the security forces and shielding the hardcore terrorists and anyone.
Dr. Meitei, can you just tell me what explains, sociologically this radicalization that, Mera Paibis were about women? From a gender perspective, they are operating from an ethnic perspective. How has that transition happened? Were Mera Paibis only about Meitei women interest group, or were they Manipuri women interest group? How has this transition happened?
Mera Paibi has always been about Meitei women interest groups. It never encompassed the tribal women. So the transition, in the sense, in the past also, if you see how in terms of defeating the social evils which is happening in the society, either it be related to substance abuse, which has been done at a large scale by the youths or the predominantly by the male in the society, Mera Paibis have been playing an important role in curbing the drug menace and also the substance abuse. But, in the past 4 months, the kind of role which they have been playing, and also, they are in the Meitei society, they are above the law. Whatever they dictate is like followed, and anyone defying their dictates are severely punished. There are some instances and cases in the past where they also went to an extent of violating the basic human rights of, let's say, whoever it may be. The person may be a drug peddler or a person who is into substance abuse.
I'll come to you, Mr. Chakma. She has made a point. Dr. Meitei, Mr. Nandakumar says that, are they above the law? Dr. Meitei, you can raise your hand in the discussion. If you feel that you want to come in, raise your hand. Because there are 4 of you and Brijesh in the studio.
I feel yet to come.
Okay, and then you raise your hand, I'm not saying that you have to barge and break the door, but you have to tell me that you want to speak.
Okay,
so complete your point.
Can I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Yeah. So even in this whole violence, the journalists, the lawyers, the politicians and senior bureaucrats, none of them were spared, even the state police. In fact, the narrative which is against the Assam Rifles, questioning their citizenship, asking them for their Aadhaar cards and telling them to prove that whether they are Indian citizen or not. So all these things shows how they have been complicit in the crime, even towards against women in this entire violence. So to me, like when we talk about I would say, when you try to reason out why is such a radicalized behavior that you see among the Mera Paibis. So when from a psychologist's point of view, when we trained and when we work with people at the grassroots, and when we want to influence or change people's human behavior, what are those factors which influence a human behavior? There are many factors, and when we see this kind of behavior in this conflict, there is when the one has to the law and order or the law and order makers, or I would say.
I think Dr. Gupta, your point has been made. One, Mr. Nandakar, you wanted to come in. Dr. Gupta says they're above the law. Couple of people on my chat box have written what was the point of the arrest if they had to be released and if they were carrying sophisticated weapons. Are Mera Paibis above law? Have they become above the law, sir?
I differ with Dr. Meitei. Mera Paibis never detect any law. They protest as and when the society is some unrest or something happens which is not acceptable to the public. At that time, Mera Paibis, they come up and they protest in a very peaceful manner. They never take up arms also. And it is wrong to say that Mera Paibis are only for the Meiteis. In 1904 and 1939, even the Naga women were participated in those movements, and they were fighting against the British. And 1904, as you may be aware, that forced labor of Meitei male were protested by the Mera Paibis, and in 1939 it was the artificial famine happened in Manipur. Against that they were fighting, and in 70s or late 70s they were fighting against the drug alcoholism, mainly to protect the male from the society from alcoholism, and they are never above the law. Tell me an example or say instance where Mera Paibis set the law and the government has to follow it. It is highly incorrect, and it is manufacturing narrative to disgrace the Mera Paibis and delegitimize. It is very unfortunate and sad. All these unrests are happening because of the present crisis, and this can be say solved by having frequent press release or media briefing by the security forces, showing the actions taken in both the communities. As General has said correctly, the people need to know the actions taken in both the sides. As of now, the visuals which you are showing is more of Meitei communities. So if actions taken against the Kuki communities are also shown, the confidence level will build up. And
Mr. Nandakumar, let me be very frank with you. I was the only person who showed when in Chura Chandpur during I think on the eve of the Independence Day, when the controversy broke, where did they get the guns from? And a lot of people said no, these are toy guns. Someone said that the real guns. I showed those visuals. You know, my coverage is not only about Meiteis. It has taken into cognizance the development in hill areas also, the entire thing, the apology which had happened, the flag controversy which happened. I showed it and I said, "Ki boss, where are these guns from? What and how are the guns available to them?" And then someone said these are toy guns. I don't want to get into that issue, but I have covered plus and minus of Kuki politics in Manipur in entire fairness. Mr. Sharma,
I am saying not to you. I am not saying to you the Manipur medias, because your channel may not be very not viewed very popularly in Manipur because of internet problem, and very few people know about English. They are not very comfortable. So I am talking media means the Meitei medias, Manipuri medias, the different say like Kuki language medias. So the local media should expose all these things, or should show the press briefing and the press releases and actions taken. That's what I mean.
I take your point. I take your point. Dr. Gupta, you wanted to come in. Then Mr. Chakma and General Sivas, do you want to come in?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have to wait a bit. Dr. Gupta.
Yeah, quickly, I just want to say that, when talk about the Mera Paibis and the women group, to my knowledge, the Kukis or women have never been a part of a kind of movement along with the Mera Paibis. I may be wrong. If I am wrong historically, I may be corrected. And since it's not in my knowledge or information or whatever information I have come across. And when talk about above the law, why I'm saying above the law, because everyone, even the law, वो झुक जाते हैं उनके demand से, उनके pressure से. So that's what I wanted to say. In the whole, since 3rd May to till date, contrary to their self-proclaimed role as protectors of Manipur women, multiple Kukis or women survivors, they claim that they were handed over to the Meitei men folk by the Mera Paibis. and subjecting them to violation, molestation, grave physical and mental assault, abduction, extended torture, gang rape, and even for brutal murder. So what will we say of that? And there is obstruction of justice by the Mera Paibis, and then the accusation towards the Indian army. So this kind of behavior is so uncalled for. And then when we talk about the solution, why is this happening? I would just want to end when I said about, the outcome of human behavior when it comes to, in terms of understanding, there is normal human behavior when, generally an event happens and then you respond or you react to that event and then the outcome. So here in this situation, it's time that the state government should think of a strategic human behavior where you should look at, why is this event happening actually? And then what is the outcome that you want to see? Do you want to end the violence? Do you want to bring peace? Do you want to maintain the territorial integrity of the state? So if that is the outcome which you wanted to see, accordingly you have to respond, because these are all an outburst of internal, grievous unhappiness, discontentment with the government. So I'll stop here for now.
Mr. Chakma, I think fair point. Is it correct to say that Mera Paibis tried to obstruct the course of justice? Is it a correct categorization?
Partly true. I think what I wanted to say in the beginning, you had raised a very good question, the transformation of the Mera Paibis. I think we have to remember one thing, that Mera Paibis are not established based on a charter of principles, that these are the demands or these are the principles which we will be following. What they have been doing is they have been representing the community interest of the Meiteis. So long as I said in the previous shows in your program, that the opponents we are the state authorities, we are certain rights or private sectors like those who are selling drugs or etc. So the Mera Paibis looked like somebody who represented the community interest in terms of rights. But when the opponents became the other community, then you could see that it's the same Mera Paibis. It's just that the community on the other sides are being targeted. Then, from, the moral values which they had, they are no longer holding those kind of moral values. And they seem to be a particular organization representing the community. So the transformation takes place took place of the Mera Paibis, depending on the opponents who are from whom they are demanding certain things. And what the second point which I want to say is the release of this 5%, not necessarily because the Mera Paibis had violated the law, but because of the fact that the state had to succumb to certain pressure which was beyond their control. That when entire Imphal Valley was brought to standstill, what the government, it's not only in Manipur, everywhere they basically look a way out.
Okay.
And the best way to look out was to release this 5%.
Okay.
The last point which I wanted to mention related to this, just one.
Sure, please go ahead. Sorry, please go ahead. Sorry.
This release of 5% will have much more dangerous effect than the resignation drama of the chief minister, because this will embolden the non-state actors, those who are armed, because they have suddenly got the sense that if they are arrested and if they claim themselves to be members of the village defense committees, then the law cannot act against them. So you have created the impression that people who are not legally allowed to carry any arms, they are not supposed to have any ammunition.
I think I think that's the point on which I want to take the conversation further. General Sivat, has a bad precedent been created?
Yes, but to some extent, they are under pressure. They have to also see that there should be peace in the society.
But the peace at what cost, sir? Peace cannot be coerced, sir. Peace has to...
Let's hear it out. See, the point is that we have been talking for so long, it has not been coming. There are 3-4 factors which are positive. The point is today, at least the police have taken some action. They have not come under pressure. They have matter has gone to the judiciary, the court has given them bail. Wrong or right? But point today is that 2-3 other issues which are coming. One point was raised about the SU. That suspension of operation is only for people who are without weapon. If you are with weapon, there will be no relaxation. UAPA will be applied. So that point should be taken into full consideration. The second thing, this woman who are Meitei, they are doing a good job till now that they were looking after the society, the drug mans and all. Not now. As on today in this episode, they are taking side of the community which they belong. For example, they are taking side of the Meitei community now, and they are now protecting them. They are also protecting those who are taking law in their own hand. So as on today, you should understand that they are becoming obstruction for the police to act and also for the security forces to act objectively. So therefore, if you take their past experience that they have been doing something good for society, acceptable, but not now. Now they are a hindrance in application of law in a uniform manner. The third thing which is very correct, I said yes, they shouldn't have been released. But the point is that there may have been a pressure, but to me it looks like that at least the police has acted firmly this time and has arrested these 5. But my point is still valid that in case these weapons are not brought back from society, you will never get a peace. You will never find the law and order coming to, because anyone who is having weapon in his hand, he becomes a self-styled commander. He start extorting money. He start applying that force on the other community and trying to dictate them. So until unless you don't remove the weapon from the society, thinking that the peace will prevail is a far-fetched imagination.
Brijesh, do you think that the fact that the weapons have not been publicly audited, there's a lack of information and lack of public debate on this issue, where the weapons have gone, which part they disappeared, which weapons have come back, from which place they were looted and which place they have gone back to? Do you think it's adding to the confusion? It's actually lending a sort of a, I would say, help to those who do not want to return the weapons?
Well, I honestly think that anybody who has weapon right now would not want to return the weapon until unless he or she is forced to. Point number 1. Point number 2, Kartikeya, we also have to appreciate the situation, because it's very easy for us to criticize the army and criticize the police per se as to why they buckled under pressure, but the situation is very, very tense there. You're outnumbered, you come from the same society, you have to deal with those people on a daily basis. So there's a lot of various factors which are at play, which is making police come under a lot of pressure. Right or wrong, I agree with General Sivach when he says that the release has been ordered by the court. The third point which I would wanted to make is that the Meitei is still now. They had a larger than life image about them. They were the conscience keeper of the society. Kartikeya, they have a great deal of influence on the fabric of the society, in the sense that they were fighting a war against alcohol, they were fighting a war against drugs, and for a long time. It's not like for 1 year or 6 months. So their influence on the fabric of the society is also extraordinary. That is the reason why, Kartikeya, they are in a position to exert that, and their role has changed. That is there for there. I mean, you have to be blind not to see that the role has changed, because right from the tweet of the spare cops, when they said that they were forced by that, until now we were seeing in the last 48 to 72 hours about the kind of pressure that has been exerted by them. Their influence is too much for few thanas to counter them, and that is the reason why it'll be a while before, till the political process starts in its right earnest, until there is a very serious effort from politicians of both sides to initiate the peace process or peace dialogue. And not much is going to be, not much is going to happen as far as this crisis is concerned.
Mr. Nandakumar, would you agree that this obstructionism is not something which goes with the original image of Meitei, the healers of the society?
See, Meitei is it's not a formal organization. It is very informal, and every locality, all the combination of ladies, especially those grown-up adults, when they come and gather together, it's called a Meitei for that specific purpose at that particular time. So in the perspective of Meitei community, there is no change in the image of the Mera Paivis. I am sure you also would not have heard about the Mera Paivis 3 or 4 months back, so as the rest of the world. So their image remains as high as earlier in the Manipur society. And the moment this crisis are over, there won't be any movement. Because see, any ladies see any of the major cities or any at any villages, they have a lot of jobs, household jobs. Leaving the household jobs and coming for the society, cause of society is a great responsibility taken by them. And you will not see such type of movement, mass movement, and doing social work. You will not see anywhere in the world. So their commitment and their thinking about the motherland. And what you were playing the visual, the lady was saying, for the motherland, we have come out for our motherland. And why you do not think about our motherland? That is what they are saying. They think sense of pride to protect their motherland against this crisis. They feel by declaring a buffer zone, our land has been encroached, and of course, the buffer zones are towards our Meitei dominated areas where houses have been burned. So these are the senses, and they also sense that no actions has been taken against the Kuki community. So their image remains as large as before.
I think the bottom line here is that the sense of perceived injustice, and I think if communities start to perceive injustice as personal and something which is organized on community lines, I think it's a big challenge for this state, because it challenges the legitimacy of the state. The state is supposed to be neutral in context of religion, ethnicity. It is neutral when it is in context of people of various communities. But then if you have vigilantes on street pressurizing the state government to take a particular action, then I think it becomes a problem. Though these 5 miscreants have been given bail by the Honorable Court, that has to be respected. The arguments must have taken place, the prosecution and defense must have interacted. But the fact is that these visuals precede the release. And I'm not joining the dots here, but the fact that so many women could just organize themselves and the entire town, the movement in the town came to halt. And this is just not, I'm not saying it's a violent protest, but look at the force of the protest. That the sort of tear gassing had to take place, the roads were blocked, so much of rapid action force, so much of Manipur police had to be deployed. I think there needs to be some thought that how long a civil society can function like this. I think Mr. Chakma made a very good point that when we talk and have a discussion in context of Manipur and peace, is just intermittent. It's a pause. The peace is a pause, and this is the real thing. What is happening is the real thing. What doesn't happen, or when we say peace, is the pause. But this continues, and I think that's really not a good part. I think this really needs to change in long run, because if this continues to happen, I don't know how it's going to impact the economic cycle. I don't know how it's going to impact the social cycle, and I don't know how it's going to impact the college going generation. And I hope it doesn't create a lost generation period for Manipuris, because ultimately if the youth gets lost, then you really impact the future of the state. I think that's where the worry should be. That's where the worry should be.
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark side of the boom.